on a year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years down a business does not mean you can't shift it. You can't change it. I did. And on the other side of that, so much more happiness and fulfillment, it'll be worth it to you. Okay, so that's number one, is who is your dream customer? Okay, second question, I was like, where are these people actually congregating? Okay, it becomes really easy when you realize like exactly who this person is. You know, okay, this is what the person is, what they do, what they like. And the better you get to know who this person is, the better you're gonna be at figuring out where are they actually congregating, okay? Like where do they spend their time? I made a list last night of just some things to start thinking about where, okay? What are the top websites your dream customers already go to every single day? Okay, what forums or message boards do they participate in? What are the Facebook groups they participate in? Who are the influencers they follow on Facebook and on Instagram? What podcasts they listen to? What are the email newsletters they're subscribed to? What blogs do they read? What channels they follow on YouTube? What keywords are they searching for in Google to find information? Okay, this is where your dream customers are congregating, where they're at. Okay, so your job as a marketer is to figure out, I gotta find out where these people are. Okay, it's funny, I just wrote this book, Traffic Secrets, and whenever I talk to people about traffic, they think it's this magic mystery of like, okay, well, how do I do it? Like, what are the keywords? What are the things? And they're always like worried about all the algorithms. I'm like, look, traffic is really simple when you think about it. It's just figuring out who your dream customer is and figuring out where they're congregating. Okay, one of my favorite stories, I'm sure most of you guys have heard me tell the story before, but when I was in high school and college, I was a wrestler. I wrestled in Utah growing up. I was a state champ there. Wrestled a year at Brigham Young University, and they cut their wrestling program, so I came to Boise State, and I had my last 4 years here at Boise State. And I remember, as much as I love my people, my wrestlers, we're not always the smartest group in any bunch. And because most of us were struggling to make grades, they made it mandatory for every single wrestler, you had to go to study hall every single night. So every single night, practice would get done, we'd all go home, we'd eat, and then we'd drive over to study hall, and all the wrestlers would be in study hall because we were all struggling in school. And so we're sitting there doing homework, and I remember every single day doing this, and I remember it's probably 2 or 3 months into my sophomore year, and I'm sitting there, and I'm trying to do my homework, and then I'm like thinking about wrestling, thinking about my match coming up, and thinking about other things, and there was a website that me and all of the wrestlers always congregated at. And it was themat.com. Mat has kind of shrunk in the last few years, and for my wrestlers, there's bigger ones out there that are better, but themat.com was the place when I was in college. And so I remember I'd go to mat.com, and I get sucked into like the message boards and like talking about this wrestler versus this wrestler and thing after thing, and like that was my place. Those were my people, right? We hung out, we had a good time, and that's where we spent all of our time is all congregating here in this one spot. Okay, and I remember kind of a funny story one day as I was in there, I had to go to the bathroom. I stood up, I started walking out, and I was looking over. I started looking at the other wrestlers. I noticed that like our 133 pounder was on the mat.com, our heavyweight was on the mat.com, our 197 pounder. I was looking, I'm like, oh my gosh, all of the wrestlers in Boise in study hall are literally in this one spot right now talking about wrestling. I was thinking, I'm like, I'm sure it's not just Boise State. I bet you every single college campus in the country, the wrestlers are in study hall right now, and we're all on the exact same website. And it's not just happening in college, it's happening in high school, it's happening for people that have already graduated, it's happening in other countries. Like the entire world, everyone who cares about wrestling is all congregating in this one spot. So my question for you is, if you're selling a wrestling product, where do you go to throw your bait in? Right? You just find out where are the wrestlers congregating and you throw out your bait right there. I remember when I was in the mat.com, I would see there'd be ads on the side for the Granby System Wrestling thing and Ken Cheertow's wrestling camps and the Sue Plays Dummies. Like all the ads were all in there all the time, right? They were all people throwing their hooks in, trying to grab people out of this pond. Okay, so same thing's true for you. As soon as you get a clear picture of who this person is, then you can figure out where they're congregating. Okay, and if you don't know where this is at, it means you got to start getting deeper into your dream customer. Okay, you got to start figuring out what podcasts they listen to. Okay, if you're not listening to the same podcast they are, you're going to struggle to speak to them because you're not going to know the language they're already listening to. You're not going to hear what other people are saying to them. Okay, so you got to find out what are the podcasts my dream customers listen to and you should be listening. What are the Facebook groups that are on? You need to get inside those groups and be part of them and participate. Okay, you got to become part of these communities, and that's going to help you understand how to come in here and throw your bait in. Okay, all right. So that takes us now to number 3. So who's your dream customer? Where are they congregating? Now, what is the bait? The bait we're going to throw in. Now we found this congregation. We got to throw something in here to try to capture them, try to grab them, right? And so in the past, I always said just throw out bait. But in the new version of the .com Secrets book, I talk about how bait is actually this concept called hook, story, offer, right? We have this thing, we throw our bait in and we have a hook, okay? So if you think about it, they're in this forum, they're in this community, and visualize this. Right, here's this person. This is your dream customer. They're hanging out in this community, and they're on their This is a phone. They're on their phone and they're seeing all these, all day they're sitting there scrolling, they're reading things, they're commenting, they're seeing stuff, and you're coming here and you're throwing this hook in to try to grab their attention just for a second. Okay, so the first part of the process, you grab the hook to grab them. We're gonna go deeper in this. You grab their hook, okay, and if you do it right, you get attention just for a second. Then you have this little window of opportunity now that you've got their attention. You have this window where you have a chance to tell them a story. And the goal of the story is to build a relationship and connection with you, okay, and then to increase the perceived value of whatever it is you're about to sell to them. Okay, so let me say it again. So the goal, the hook grabs their attention just long enough you can tell them a story. The story builds a connection with you and the person, okay? And then gives you the ability to increase the perceived value of the thing you're gonna offer them, and then you make them an offer. Okay, so it's hook, story, offer. This is the framework. I'm gonna go deeper into this here in a second. We hook them, tell them a story, and we make them an offer. Okay? And that's how you get somebody from this community to be able to get their attention so you can actually start serving them. Okay? Now, it's interesting. I'm gonna show you guys this right here. So this was the first bait, the first thing that we put out there that was specifically to grab my dream customer. Okay, this was my hook to grab Mike and a Julie. Now, prior to this, just so you guys know, before I had this 108 split test book, most of the things I was selling, like how to get rich quick on the internet, how to make money on eBay, how to make money doing that, like there are all these things that were like, they were attracting the wrong kind of person. It wasn't attracting entrepreneurs, it attracted them who wanted to get rich quick, right? Which those are the customers I didn't like, that I didn't want to spend time with, okay? So I wrote this book, 108 split test winners. And it was interesting, I took my existing customer list and I promoted it. I'm like, hey, I wrote this new book, 108 split test winners. And of my, 150, 200,000 subscribers ahead of time, the amount of people that bought this were maybe a dozen, okay? So this bait I put out there, what did it do? I put this bait out here and the wrong customers came and looked at it and said, 108 split test, what does that even mean? Okay, and it repelled them. They're like, that sounds like a lot of work. So it repelled them and they went away, okay? But the right people, my dream customers said, 108 split tests, like, oh my gosh, if they're an entrepreneur, like these are Russell split tests, simple tweaks you can make to your funnel, like that bait attracted my dream customer. The Mikes and the Julies of the communities that we were putting this offer out, they heard it and they're like, oh my gosh, like that's the thing I need, that's what I need to do. And they raised their hand, they came and they bought it. Okay, what happened that was interesting is that my huge list of all these business opportunity seekers who wanted to get rich quick on the internet, they stopped responding to my offers, okay? And eventually they all kind of faded away and they disappeared. And all of a sudden this new breed of entrepreneurs, the people that wanted to work hard, that believed in growth, that wanted to figure out the next level, those people saw this hook and it attracted them. They said, that's amazing. They came, they bought the hook. Okay, they saw me make an offer, tell them a story. Like, let me tell you a story about this book. I told them the story of the book. Like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. I must buy it. I need this thing. Made them an offer, go buy the book, and boom, it happened. Hook, story, offer. I started grabbing my dream customers out of this place right here and started coming into my world. And that literally is what shifted my whole future. Everything since then shifted because of that. Because I knew exactly who my customers were. I knew where they were at, and I created the bait that would attract the dream customers and repel the people I didn't want to work with. Does that make sense? Okay, so bait's the next thing here. Okay, so the question for you to start asking yourself is like, what's the bait you can create to attract your dream customer? Okay? And the sexier the bait, the more likely someone's gonna come to you, okay? In fact, if I go back one, it says change your bait, change your customer. Okay, if you don't like the customers coming in, change your bait. Change your bait, keep changing until it's like, oh, these are my people. These are the people I wanna actually spend time with, okay? Change your bait, change your customer. Okay, so start thinking through what's the bait you could create, okay, that you can go grab your dream people.